In the past 2 episodes, we explored the progression from Teiji to the 2 forms, from the 2 forms to the 4 images, and finally to the 8 trigrams. The 8 trigrams symbolize 8 fundamental forces of nature: heaven, earth, thunder, wind, water, fire, mountain, and lake. But the 8 trigrams are only the beginning. When each trigram combines with another, pair by pair, they give rise to the 64 hexagrams of the Zhouyi, or Book of Changes. This is not merely a matter of mathematical permutation and combination. Behind it lies one of the ancients' deepest insights into human life. Philosophically speaking, every person lives within 2 worlds: the part we can control and the part we cannot. Put more simply, these are the self and the environment in which the self exists. No one can escape this relationship. Even if you retreat into the deepest mountains, the moment there is a self, there is also an environment surrounding that self. Where there is an inner world, there is an outer world. Where there is the self, there are others. The pairing of trigrams symbolically expresses this universal principle. Let us take the Ching hexagram as an example. The Ching hexagram is formed by combining 2 Ching trigrams, one above and one below. The upper trigram is Ching, and the lower trigram is also Ching. If you look closely, the hexagram contains 6 horizontal lines representing yin and yang. Each line is called a yao. Since a hexagram has 6 lines, the popular method of divination known as the 6 lines score derives its name from this structure. An important detail: the 6 lines of a hexagram are not read from top to bottom as we normally read text. Instead, they are read from bottom to top. The lowest line is called the initial line, while the topmost line is called the upper line or the 6th line. Why read from bottom to top? The reasoning is quite simple. Traditional Chinese society was primarily agricultural. Crops grow from the soil upward, from a small sprout into a towering tree. Buildings are constructed the same way. No one builds the roof first and then works downward. Everything begins with the foundation and rises layer by layer. Reading the lines from bottom to top reflects the ancient respect for natural processes and growth. Because of this upward order, the lower 3 lines of a hexagram form the inner trigram, while the upper 3 lines form the outer trigram. The distinction between the inner and outer perfectly reflects traditional cultural thinking: first the self, then the environment. With this understanding, let us return to the Ching hexagram. Its inner trigram is Ching, and its outer trigram is also Ching. Hexagrams in which the inner and outer trigrams are identical are called pure hexagrams. Among the 64 hexagrams, there are 8 such cases. These are known as the 8 pure hexagrams. When any trigram is paired with any other, one placed above and one below, 64 different configurations emerge. These form the 64 hexagrams of the Book of Changes. Each hexagram represents a specific pattern of interaction between the inner and the outer, between your internal state and the external circumstances you face. Together, they define your present situation. Ancient scholars used the 64 hexagrams to interpret worldly change and to predict fortune or misfortune. Yet the underlying logic is remarkably simple. You may not be able to change the external environment, but you can adjust your inner state. When the inner trigram is cultivated and aligned, one becomes better able to respond to the outer trigram. From Teiji to the 8 trigrams, and from the 8 trigrams to the 64 hexagrams, the ancients were ultimately attempting one thing: to use a symbolic system to map out all the possible patterns of human life.